Opportunities are like a bus stop. There's a timing schedule, right, to opportunities. If you're not prepared and the timeliness doesn't match up, that bus takes off and you are not on it. These buses are going to continue to keep showing up until you decide to jump on one. That's the action you're taking to proactively kick something up or stir something up in the universe, which is something I want to talk about. And if you constantly see all these buses going away and you are frozen and not able to get on one of them, there's an issue that you need to inquire about within of why you're not getting on these buses, because they're coming. They're all around you. But are you prepared to get on them?
Welcome to the Success Flow Podcast, where our mission is simple: to be better each day and relay our findings with other relentless humans defining success for themselves. If that sounds like you, let's begin.
All right, man, we are back on the Success Flow Podcast, and this is going to be a fun episode. You've had, in the last week, a really, really badass experience, and so I thought it would be cool to talk about opportunity and the various pivotal moments and opportunity stories that we have in our life, especially this one. I won't spill the beans just yet of what you just experienced. And before I ask you about that, I just want to give a quick definition of what opportunity is. Right? When you think about what opportunity is in your life, it's by definition, a situation or a set of circumstances that makes it possible to do something with a positive outcome, a good chance for advancement or progress. So whatever we're doing in life, what we should or could be doing is preparing for more opportunity, right? That's the question that we should be asking ourselves. How do I recognize more good opportunity? How do I create more opportunity stories in my life to put me on that path or change the trajectory of my life in an incredible way? And some of that may be to advancement in your professional life, advancement in your personal life when working on yourself. But some of it may just be really cool opportunities to experience something and open your mind up to some awesome, awesome stuff. So with that said, you, my friend, were invited to play in a tournament at Pebble Beach, which I know that was a massive, a bucket list item to be on that golf course, not only just to play on the golf course, but to be like to have some stake in the game. So you just got back. Tell me how you're feeling. Give us the rundown of how you even got that opportunity to get in the door there. And what was it like, man?
Yeah, absolutely. And to answer that last portion first, I'm just on fire and
so awesome.
Recharged. It's just incredible, the clarity. And to kind of take a step back, with the close of the year, it was getting so crazy. And you and I have talked a lot about on this podcast how if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And I haven't been perfect with that, but I've gotten a lot better. The priorities are pretty straight. There's invites coming from every direction, which is a blessing. Very grateful for it, but I've been really trying to say no to a lot of things. Well, when this phone call came through, I think it was October, I was like, we had just booked a couple other trips and, these things were kind of in the books. And I thought to myself, it was pretty easy that this one was a hell yeah. It didn't take a long T-chart of pros and cons and
yeah, for sure.
This is a 3-day tournament at Pebble Beach. The numbers sounded right, and it was just like, yes, commit to it. Didn't know any of the guys but one going on the trip, which was a little like, I don't know, do I want to do this which was silly in hindsight. I was just super distracted. Anyway, said yes. End of the year comes. Our business is wild. End of the year. The holidays are here. It's every single person is going through this. I'm not, we're not special here. I just didn't realize I hadn't even had a moment to look forward to Pebble. It was kind of like get through New Year's and I'm on the plane the next day. And the travel out kind of started. Practice round was great. And then day two. And I looked out into the ocean while we were playing in competition. And it was just all gone. Every kind of
That's awesome.
Cloudy, stressful future, it was just gone. I'm like, we preach about this. And this is coming from someone I've been having this conversation with some of my closest folks and even some of the people I'm working with is like, this is what I'm supposed to be able to do. And I'm trying to do it day in, day out, clear this energy or whatever you're calling it, get focused. And it just happened being in nature, being around some great folks in competition, and truly decompressing. So I'm just super grateful. Shout out to a future guest, Kevin Randolph, for the invite, as well as Jeff Samet for extending Kevin the invite, the perfect chain of events. And real quickly, how crazy the universe is. When we landed in SFO, we're trying to get out to the car to go to Pebble Beach. And I don't know these other guys at all, right? We didn't do much prep. The guy that he first introduced me to, they had just connected, name's Jimmy Slack. Introduced me, he said you were in software. Jimmy works at Workiva.
No way.
And yeah, we two guys from Rocket Mortgage invited two guys, and we just happened to work at Workiva on the sales org.
What a small world.
And we were like, what are the odds, right? He's in Michigan. Right. Anyway, so all this is kind of happening. It just turned into an unbelievable trip with letting go, talked a lot of business, talked a lot of life, and decompressed right next to the ocean. Very, very grateful.
Dude,
but that's enough about Pebble Beach. We're not going to go into the details. I'm already annoying everyone around me that loves golf. But the real focus of this episode is around opportunity and kind of pivotal moments, right? Which you have made a huge part of your work with OppoFlow and has been really inspiring to me to try to identify those. And I know you and I have mapped ours in the past, kind of the nucleus of this podcast as well as one of those. So I love the topic today.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's obviously the way you got in the door there and got that call was from one person that you knew who was invited by another person. So it's that chain of events, those set of situations and circumstances that happen. It's not luck. It's not. Sometimes it seems like it just comes out of nowhere. But that relationship that you developed, and you said, what was his name? Jeff? Kevin? What was his name? Kevin. Yeah, so Kevin. That relationship with Kevin. Because you cultivated that relationship and you guys are good buddies and, your history there, that presented an opportunity for him to invite you when he could have invited 4, 5, 6 other guys probably. Right. And so he knows you love golf and he knows you're a good friend and all this stuff. And you guys have a relationship. And so opportunity does come around. It is everywhere. And you do have to make the choice of, do I say yes or no to this? And you should probably say no to more things. But obviously this was a bucket list golf trip for you. And had Kevin not had that relationship with you to make that call to you, that was a resounding hell yes, because of the person that you met and the person you became along the way to get that call. And so, long story short, I think opportunity comes around 2 ways, and it's how you discover them or create them. And the opportunities are created by developing those relationships and then putting in the work yourself, not only to build stronger relationships, but also just the actions and things that you're doing to become a better person in your personal and professional life.
I would double click on that and say it's funny because Kevin and I have known each other for a long time, but it's really been the last 3-4 years where we realized all of the overlaps between golf, business, jiu-jitsu. It's like, man, we're into a lot of the same things. And that, someone for so long, it's like the bamboo shoot. You don't realize when these things are going to sync up and match. And yeah, I said yes because Pebble Beach with Kevin, absolutely not. But it was so much more, right? It was like, put the golf aside, which I know is hard. This was something that I really needed. And I think was like a true game changer just for a refreshing lens going into this year and everything that I want to do.
Yeah, that's awesome that you had that experience and it worked out in that way, and you had that perspective, right? So I find that I actually read some studies that when you have an adventure, you plan something cool like that you almost are happier leading up to that event or that adventure than you are in the actual adventure that you're on. And so one of the things that I like talking about is when you plan your vacations or plan your adventures or you plan your stuff, always have the next one planned before the first one gets over, because it is true. Human nature is to be happier and find more joy and excitement leading up to that event than the actual event itself. And so for you to have that perspective when you're on that trip, to soak it all in and be in the moment and be like, holy crap, where am I? I'm here, I'm on the beach golfing in this amazing historical golf course, and having that ability to just kind of have that reset and refresh and really hone in on what the next steps are for you coming back from that is awesome, because not a lot of people will do that. They'll go on their big week-long vacation to Hawaii or Europe or do something cool like that. But it's the leading up to that trip, they find themselves happier than when they get out, after that trip. So taking in that moment was probably so cool. I do have to ask you, what did you shoot? I mean, we don't have to, we got to let the listeners know how good you are, because I know you smoke me every time. But yeah, I know you had some good shots. I saw some videos.
I will tell you this: played with a pro for 4 days in a row, and you will realize how good you are not. And never claimed to be that good. That game will never be mastered fully, even with the pros. But shot an 85 at Pebble, imparted all the iconics. That's all that matters. And with the birdie, so with really windy, rainy conditions, we'll leave the play at that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, those are obviously, that's a big opportunity. That was a big trip. That was a neat thing for you. And one of the things that opportunities everywhere. And when I say that, it doesn't mean saying yes to all things like we just talked about. It's saying no to more things. But an opportunity doesn't have to be a big trip like Pebble Beach. It doesn't have to be the big Hawaii trip or whatever. It can be an opportunity to kiss your spouse or hug your kids, or just to listen to music, or an opportunity to wake up and choose happiness today, right? And, hold the door for a stranger. Like those little promptings and thoughts of doing well and positivity and adding that into your life. When you stack those little opportunities and take those actions, it just transpires into bigger opportunities, which then become potentially a pivotal moment. And so a pivotal moment is something that you can vividly remember in your past. You don't realize what's happening while it's happening. A pivotal moment is recognized later. And that's usually what if you said yes to that thing or no to that thing, did it change my life in an incredible way? Did it change the trajectory of where I'm going? Had I gone the other way, it could have completely changed, where I'm today. You're sitting in the seat you are now purely because of the actions you took in that pivotal moment. And everyone's got 4 or 5 of those that you can vividly remember. Like, for instance, in your career, like, I don't know if you knew this. I may have told you this, or may have said it on the pod. I can't remember. But had I not started at MasterTax with my dad when I was 22 and meeting you, I would not be owning a payroll company here in Phoenix. And I would not be doing the things that I'm doing now in the payroll and HR industry, and would not have the opportunity to be getting into speaking and doing the newsletter write-ups and all this stuff, or even this podcast with you potentially, right? Because I wouldn't have known you potentially, and I also wouldn't have been in the industry. And the only reason I said yes to that opportunity was because my wife said, if it wasn't your dad, would you take the job? And I was like, well, hell yeah, it's a great opportunity to get in sales, right? It was what taught me to open up my mind. It was what taught me how to align my vision with that opportunity. And so I said yes. And now where I am today, I'm forever grateful for my wife just saying that one line, she was my girlfriend at the time, just saying that one line, if it wasn't your dad, would you take that opportunity? And so I didn't realize at the time that was a pivotal moment until years down the road. And so I think it's really cool to try and stack more opportunity stories, and by saying yes to the things that align. And I think that's the biggest key, is finding alignment with where it is you want to go and the opportunity that presents itself. Does it make sense to say yes to this or not?
I love that. And that's the preparation, right? Which we didn't have a lot of that back in the MasterTax days. We really were kind of going with our gut and, the guidance of the people around us. But as you get older, you start building all of these case studies in your head that you can map to the current problem that you're facing. And so the faster you get, you're going to connect those dots quicker and be able to make better decisions, or at least more aligned decisions, if you're cross-referencing them with your values. Have you heard about the metaphor, the opportunity bus?
I have not. No. What's that one?
Opportunities are like a bus stop. Well, the buses are actually the opportunities. And so there's a timing schedule, right, to opportunities. They come relatively frequently, sometimes infrequently, sometimes they're off schedule, but there's a timing to it. And so if you're not prepared and the timeliness doesn't match up, that bus takes off and you are not on it. So with most opportunities, you have to take action, so that these buses are going to continue to keep showing up until you decide to jump on one. That's the action you're taking to proactively kick something up or stir something up in the universe, which is something I wanted to talk about. And if you constantly see all these buses going away and you are frozen and not able to get on one of them, there's an issue that you need to inquire about within of why you're not getting on these buses, because they're coming. They're all around you, bus after bus after bus. But are you prepared to get on them?
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I love that. I hadn't heard it pitched that way or described that way, but you're 100% correct. It's all about preparation. And I think what the first thing you have to do is, we've talked about your massive transformative purpose or your vision for yourself. What's that end all be all, that North Star? Like where it is it that you're going? Like you've got to define that. You got to figure that out, because you're frozen at the bus stop because you're not sure there's too many opportunities. You don't know what to do. You're anxious. You're stressed, and that's because you have too many options. You don't know which one to choose, and so you kind of freeze. And so when you have a clear vision of what your MTP is, and then you get your BHAGs and your big goals and your BHAGs, your big, hairy, audacious goal, and you find alignment with that, then all of a sudden that bus comes around that says, yeah, that aligns, and boom, you jump on and you got to take immediate action on it. And that is how you prepare, is because you win or learn. You're not going to be 100%, you're not going to be successful right away at all times. And so you have to be okay with that. And you have to be open-minded to know that, hey, I'm just going to take the jump, even when I don't know if this is going to work or not, but it aligns. So worst case, I'm going to learn something. I'm going to pivot and try again with more knowledge than I had before. And so I think it goes back to when you take that action, or if you define your MTP and you have your BHAG and those align, finding the people that have already achieved that. Right? Find the bus driver who's coming along and talk to the bus driver and be like, hey, look, how did you get here? What are the things that you did? And so building the relationships with people that have already gone to where you're going, that goes back to, like, if you can swing it, a coach or a mentor, or just free resources like YouTube channels, or subscribing to podcasts or newsletters, or joining a mastermind group, right? And just being around people that are doing the things that you want to achieve helps open up your mind and continue that preparation. And it really is just putting in the work and taking that action. And you're probably going to have to make some daily life changes to achieve a mindset or identity shift to achieve the things that you want. And remaining disciplined to power through those times, you're not going to always see progress. And so you just remaining patient, remaining consistent. Each time you take the action, that is progress. And there's nothing more motivating than seeing the progress in your work. And so, recognizing good opportunity and taking action is just really just getting out there and trying. Like, don't sit back, like just put in the effort. And then all of a sudden you'll start attracting people that align with your big goals and align with your vision. And then those invites come and you're like, wait, where did you come from? And it's because of the things that you're putting out there into the world.
Absolutely.
What's a big pivotal moment for you that you can identify in your career that got you to where you are today?
Yeah, you kind of covered the master tax portion, which was a huge conversation with your dad making that decision not to go to law school and to jump into the role at Master Tax. That was the first one, and then the second and only other organization I've been with as a adult professional was with Web at the time, Web Filings. I was already signed to go, if you remember, with another company. To start in their sales program. It was a boot camp. It was going to be great training. It was, I was really excited about it. And then this opportunity came out of nowhere through a recruiter. I just took it almost on a whim and showed up to the office, which was total startup. No one there. I think there was like one plastic table, a ping pong table that hadn't been set up yet. The guy interviewing me, Justin Smith, was in Jordans and a V-neck t-shirt. I'm like, where am I coming from? Conservative ADP. And he laid out with a bunch of acronyms I didn't know, the current and future state of the industry of financial reporting, SEC reporting at that time. And it just kind of clicked, and he closed really well. And I just think about all the time. The first person I called was my aunt to say, what should I don't know what to do here. And that was one of the biggest inflection points of my life, and the ride that we've been on, and what the team at Workiva has built and been a part of. Just an incredible inflection point and pivoting moment in my life.
Yeah, that's huge, especially when Web Filings was so new, like startup, right? I mean, it was like, who is this company? And just taking a chance on them taking a chance on you. And it's wild. And but that goes into the work you put in, right? So yeah, you said yes, but now you got to go all in on it, right? Like you can't just half-ass it. You're going all in to see what's possible. And I think that's the biggest thing too is take the action, but you've got to put forth your best effort and 100% all in on whatever you say yes to, because otherwise you're not going to see the fulfillment of what is fully possible or what you're capable of.
Absolutely.
So I remember, I mean, just on the personal side, obviously I met Kim when we were in high school. We were 15. The prototypical sparks fly, first time you meet somebody, love at first sight thing. We never dated until we were seniors in college. But the first day I met her, I gave her a hug because she just kind of opened up, and I'm not sure why, but she opened up about something going on in her family. And I just asked her if she was okay. Like, it just looked like something was off. And I was introduced by a mutual friend, and we chit chatted for a minute, and some empathy and, sympathy, and just kind of told her everything would be okay. She gave me a hug. And then right when she walked away, I was like, oh my gosh, like that, like literally it'd be like a cartoon, sparks flying, like, who is this girl? Right. And so long story short, we were good friends in high school. We never dated until college. Now we hung out through college and all that. She was down at U of A. I was in Tempe, but we didn't talk for like a full year, and from 2007 to 2008. And she hit me up on MySpace. Remember MySpace? Your top 8 friends, and you have your music video, and it was before anyone used Facebook really. And she hit me up on MySpace. She goes, hey, I'm going to be in town. You want to go to La Paria, which was our favorite Mexican restaurant when we were in high school. We'd go there all the time. And I said, yeah, let's meet up. It'd been a year. And from that moment forward, that conversation, I remember I was 21. I said, hey, do you want to come out with us for my 22nd birthday? And we went out on Mill Avenue, and she was like, yeah. So it's January, which my birthday,
where all the romance is.
Yeah. Mill Avenue and Sun Devil world. A lot of debauchery happens on Mill, that's for sure. But we had a great time. And then it was like, I never want to be with anyone else. Like, I just, I'd always been so close to her. But had she not reached out on MySpace, I wasn't reaching out to her. Like, I wasn't in that mindset. It just wasn't a thing. And so that was a pivotal moment that I always remember, that she reached out to me, was like, hey, do you want, like, we haven't spoken in a year. I would love to see you, do you want to catch up? And because she did that, I'll always look back at that being a pivotal moment in my life, that I've able to build, this blessed family that I have with 2 kids and married over 13 years. And it's incredible to think about the personal side of things and some of those pivotal moments. So it's not always your career. It's also personal, and everyone's got their relationship story. And that's definitely a pivotal moment of how that happened.
Yeah. I love that. And those decisions, some are easier to make than others when your emotions and other powerful forces are kind of guiding you along the way. I think about a lot of the folks that are probably asking, well, I'm not seeing these buses coming. I'm not seeing opportunity, showing up right and left. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, Naval Ravikant said something like, you're constantly just stirring things up, which is where I felt like I was 4 or 5 years ago, and just taking massive, messy action to try to add value to other people, have conversations with people that are doing similar things that you are, putting some money behind it to get in the right rooms. But even if you're not wanting to do that yet, even if you're not there yet, like there was a quote, opportunity dances with those who are already on the dance floor. You're on some type of dance floor right now, whether that is a call center, whether we're working in fast food, that's a dance floor. And you can find these opportunities right where you're at. We tend to say, I will be happy when I get this new role, when I'm doing this certain thing, but that's the problem. It's right here, right now. What is the number one thing I can make a commitment to excellence in whatever I'm doing right now? And you keep that top of mind day in and day out, and watch as your world kind of starts to change around you, because it's just a reflection of the work that you're putting in and how you're viewing the world. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on what you would tell someone who's trying to draw more opportunity into their life.
It's a really great question. Opportunity does not have to be massive, groundbreaking opportunities. And I think that's where when people say there's no opportunities that are presenting themselves, it's because they're thinking of like the big, massive things that they're striving for. And so I think you have to break it down on a daily basis. Every single day you're presented with an opportunity to do something that makes you happy. You have that choice. So whatever makes you happy, figure out what that is. And whenever you feel unmotivated or underwhelmed or whatever, force yourself to take 5 minutes to go do that thing that makes you happy. Maybe it's, going for a 5-minute walk away from your desk if you're at a desk job. If you're in that fast food restaurant, maybe it's listening to your favorite music on the way in and on the way out, or your favorite podcast. But every single day you have the opportunity to bring joy. And if you're on a health kick, choosing the healthy snack instead of the candy, starting a new project or finding a resolution to a problem instead of waiting for direction. So you're putting yourself in those positions to take action and do things and be successful or learn from them. But those will happen every single day. And it does come down to taking action. Now, if you're the type of person that's like going through something right now, and we'll call it a rut, where you just don't feel like taking action in any way, which is challenging to get out of. And I've been there. It's just the little compounding things. It'll take some time, but just waking up every single day and forcing yourself to do something that did make you happy. What was something that made you happy 2 years ago? Maybe it was like, I used to run half marathons. I'm running a half marathon again, but I haven't ran in a long time. But maybe you're a runner, and then the last 3 years you've been pretty depressed and you just haven't ran in a long time. Maybe it just starts, like I said, just getting out and go for a walk, right? Just force yourself to get out of the house and go for a walk. It's opportunities either created by the work that you put in, discovered by the awareness that you have, or provided through the relationships you developed. And it's cyclical. It's extremely cyclical. The more opportunities that you can find on a daily basis, you're able to create more opportunity from that opportunity. So jumping at the ones that challenge you for growth. Growth brings focus. Focus brings progress. Progress brings knowledge. Knowledge brings clarity. Clarity brings awareness. And that awareness brings opportunity, which opportunity brings further growth. So it's cyclical. Once you get on that train and you start just opening your mind up to the little things and compounding, you will recognize the little daily opportunities that you'll start growing, and you'll start getting yourself out of that funk. I think it was Alex Hormozi said the definition of sadness or hopelessness. There's a video I saw. I thought it was brilliant. When you're sad and you're down, it's because of the lack of options that you have. You don't know where that opportunity is. It's not sadness because you can't do anything about it. It's because the options, and if you're a lack of options and you're not sure where to go, it's because you're not knowledgeable yet. You don't have the education. So read books, listen to podcasts, start learning something. And then all of a sudden your brain starts getting fired up and like, oh, I just learned that. And now I can go here. And now I can do this. So I thought that was neat in the way he said sadness is solvable when you realize that it's just a lack of knowledge in something. And so just constantly being a knowledge seeker will help you get out of that funk and recognize more opportunities to challenge you for growth. And then everything's cyclical from there.
I love it. I think that's the pod. Opportunity is everywhere, and where focus goes, energy flows, y'all. We'll be back at it next week. A lot about us this time, but we got some good guests in the hopper, and we're looking forward to sharing 2024 with you. Talk soon.